So lesson 38, we're going to talk about ratio problems. And ratios are just simply just a comparison between two things. So we might have a ratio of like boys to girls is 3 to 2, or the ratio of football players to basketball players is 5 to 1, something along those lines. Anytime we're going to see ratios, they're basically, you're going to see as fractions, okay? So in this case, we have a 4 over m equals 21 over 5. And if you remember from even middle school, or maybe if you've gone through a high school class, gone through my algebra class, you've seen this. All we're simply going to do is cross multiply. So when I say by cross multiplying, I'm not talking about across this way. I'm talking about crossing diagonally. So we're actually going to multiply 4 times 5, which is 20, and then m times 21, which is 21m. So by cross multiplying, we're simply just going to set up our problem to figure out what we're trying to find for the value of m. So now that we've got 20 over 21, what we're going to do is, in order to solve for m, we have to divide by 21 now, and we're going to get a final answer of 20 over 21 equals m. So again, ratio problems, trying to solve ratio problems are really fairly simple. All we are to do is going to set it up, do our cross multiply, divide on both sides, and we're going to solve for our final variable. So in this book, a lot of times what you're going to see is they're going to give you a word problem for a ratio problem. And a lot of times they're going to use some really silly things, and they're going to use some things that are going to make you laugh, which is fine. And they're going to use words. What the words are, or what the type of people are, doesn't really matter. All we're looking for is the numbers. Okay? So let's take, for example, the ratio of pigs to goats in the barnyard was 7 to 5. If there were 91 pigs, how many goats were there? So we're looking for the ratio of pigs to goats in the barnyard. Okay? So that's what we're looking for. Here's the important thing. Okay? So I'll show you this here in a second, but we have to make sure we set up our problem, our ratio, correctly. So if we have pigs on top on one side, then we have to make sure we have the pigs on top on the other side. Okay? If you wanted to go goats to pigs, it doesn't really make a difference as long as you set your ratio up to have goats on the top as the numerator and our pigs as our denominator. Okay? So in this case, our problem talked about the ratio of pigs to goats in the barnyard was 7 to 5. So they first mentioned pigs. The ratio of pigs in the barnyard, pigs to goats, was 7 to 5. So the first number is going to be our pigs. So we have 7 pigs in the barnyard. And then it says to goats, so the next thing is going to be the 2, as you can see there's 7 to 2. So we have is 5. Okay, so we have 7 pigs in the barnyard and 5 goats in the barnyard. So what we have to know is our other set. So if you remember correctly, the pigs is going to be on one side, the goats is going to be on the bottom side. Well, they told us there are going to be 91 pigs in the barnyard. So if there's 91 pigs, what we're looking for is the number of goats in the barnyard. So again, now we're just going to cross multiply. 7 times g is going to give us 7g, and then 5 times 91 is going to be 145. Oops, excuse me, not 145. 455. So now we've got 455. Now we're simply just going to divide by 7 on both sides. And so for our final answer, we're going to have 65 goats in the barnyard. So once again, make sure you read the problem correctly. In this case, they mentioned pigs first, and the first number they mentioned was 7. The second animal they mentioned was goats, and the second number they used was 5. So make sure you set those up properly. That is going to be extremely important in order for you to do that. So just make sure whenever you're doing this that you're setting up your ratios correctly. So let's do one more problem here just to make sure we understand it. In the same barnyard, the ratio of chickens to ducks was 9 to 4, and there were 108 chickens. How many ducks were there? So again, we're looking for chickens to ducks. So once again, we have to make sure that our chickens are going to be on the top and our ducks are going to be on the bottom. So they said that we had 9 chickens and 4 ducks. Okay, that was our ratios, 9 to 4. Now we have to look for is there were 108 total chickens. So if there were 108 total chickens, we're looking for how many ducks there were in the barnyard. So once again, we're going to cross multiply 9 times d, and then 4 times 108 is going to give us 432. So now that we have 432, we have 9D, we're just going to divide by 9. And for our final answer, we're going to get 48 ducks in the barnyard. So once again, we made sure that we had our chickens and our ducks ratio set up properly. We had 9 chickens to 4 ducks. There were 108 total chickens. We had our D we're looking for. We cross multiply and got 9D equals 432. We divide by 9 and we got D ducks equals 48.